Okay, Agricola. Friday the 15th of July 2022. Prima castrorum rudimenta. So his first rudiments of camping, of military camping, in Britannia, was in Britain. Dative or ablative, Suetonio Paulino, diligenti, exdative, and moderato duce. Approve of it. So that's a perfect. So he was entrusted or commended in Britain to Suetonius Paulinus, who was a careful and moderate leader, general. Electus, past passive, he was chosen, whom he was thought to a contubernio. This is where you have a group of soldiers all in the same tent, or it's also a companion. So he was chosen who would be, this is where he got his breakthrough in his rudiments of camping in the tent with him. Nec Agricola, nominative. Neither was Agricola licenter, that's an adverb. So he wasn't too loose. More juvenum, that's a plural genitive. In the customs of the young man, who militiam, that's their military service, vertunt, they would turn into lasciviam, which is lusts and pleasures. Neque, neither was he segnator, another adverb, neither was he indolent or sluggish. Ad voluptates, two pleasures and cometus, this is the furlough where they get a break. Titulum tribunatus, that's his title, I'd say that's a fourth, his title of tribune, and his inscitiam, that's his lack of knowledge or his inexperience. So he didn't retool it. He didn't refer his title of tribune and his early beginnings where he didn't know what was going on to get just pleasures and breaks. Sed noscere provinciam, but to know the province, and here's the passive infinitive, and to be known, dative, to the army. To learn, aperitus, plural, to learn from the experienced. Sequi, that's a deponent infinitive. To follow the optimists, that's those who are best, the best soldiers. Nihil ad petere injectationem, and he sought nothing towards boasting. Nothing ob, it's a preposition. Nothing because of formidum. Nothing because of dread. He didn't refuse anything because of dread or fear. And simul, at the same time, he was both anxious and intentus. He was doing things carefully and cautiously, and he was intent on them. Non sane, that's the adverb. Clearly, non alias, clearly no other, comparative, exercitatior, and margus, and more, and ambiguo, Britannia fuit. So Britain was clearly not, at any other time, more exercised or more battles, I suppose, and more in ambiguo. It was a two-headed sort of thing going. They didn't know what sort of dire straits they were in. Trucidati veterani. The veterans were cut down. Insensae coloniae. Plural, colonies were burnt. Intercepti exercitus. The armies were intercepted and cut off. Tum de salute. Mox de victoria curtivere. Then they were contesting, fighting for their safety, and soon for victory. So at one time they're fighting just to survive, and then they get bolder or they get better circumstances and they get victories. Quae cuncta. So everything which, etsi, though, concilus ductuque, in the plans and in the leadership, in the ductu, these are being agabantur, these are being conducted by ulterius, by another person. So the plans and leadership are of another. And the summa rerum, and the utmost in all these things and circumstances, in the recuperate provinciae, in the retaking of the provinces, recuperating the losses, the glory cessit in ducem. And this is the ulterius. So he was fighting and all this, but the glory went to the leader, artem and usum. So the skill, arts, and the use, experience, and stimulos. These were goading adire juveni, to the young man. And so he was using skill and experience. And introverted, they entered the animum into his heart, his courage, militaris gloriae cupidia, a desire of military glory, double genitive, ingrata, unwelcome, temporibus, to those times, quibus, in which, sinstra, this is left-handedness, which is an ill omen, it's not good, erga, towards those who are eminent. So in these times, it was unlucky to have military glory in interpretio, because it would be interpreted not less as a danger from having a great renown or great report than from having a bad one. Yeah, so if you're bad, you'd get booted out, and if you're shone too good, the emperor would kill you. Okay, hinc, adverb. From here, gerundive. From here to the taking of a magistrate, digresses left off into the city. Took a magistrate in the city. Accusative, proper noun. Domitia decidina. Autem, she had arose of a splendid bloodline. She was a noble woman, obviously. To himself, Jungsid, he joined to her. He took up a magistrate and got married. And this matrimonium ad maiora nitentai decors, 2 more honours in his striving, and was a strength, was Robur. Vixerunqui, and they lived mira concordia, in an admirable concord, per mutuem caritatem, just basic accusatives, for a mutual dearness, and in turn anteponendo, by placing themselves, gerund, by placing themselves in front of the other. So that's how much they loved each other. Unless or except, quod in bona oxor, that's ablative, so except, we might treat this as a quad clause, except that in a good wife there is so much more praise, and how much of a blame, there's much more blame in having a bad wife in mala. Sors nominative. So the lot of the questorship, provinciam Asian, the province of Asian, we haven't got a verb yet, proconsul Salvium Titanium, and he was given Salvius Titanius, proconsul, as a proconsul. Quorum neutro corruptus est, of which in neither or by neither, past passive participle, he was corrupted. So neither his lot in this province of Asia or his proconsul corrupted him. Quam. Although also the province was rich and prepared to the peccantibus, to people who are sinners, basically, to the corrupt people, if we want to take that corrupt again. Et proconsul in omnem aviditatem pronus. Yeah. So his proconsul was prone in all avidness and all types of greed, quanta libet, as much as you like. Facilitate, that looks ablative. And then we have a second type of future. So he was always looking for the opportunities or a way that he could redempturus. He could obtain a mute. So he wanted to get the quietness about his evil, of his mala, a pretense. So he'd always get the opportunity so that he could buy silence, I guess, so he could buy his way out of all the mala, the evil he was doing. And we can continue on. Auctus est, he was increased there by a daughter, Philia, in subsidium, simul, and solacium. At the same time, this was a help, a subsidy, and a solace. For Philium, for his son, anti sublatum brevi amissit. He had lost brevi, short time. Mox inter quaestorem and tribulanum. So soon, in between his quaestorship and the tribute of the plebs, this son back here, anti sublatum, he'd already carried this son in his arms for a short time before he lost him. And ipsum etiam tribunatus. okay, so he's himself had even been for 1 year as this tribune, quiete in otio oblatives. He passed through his tribunateship of 1 year in rest and leisure. Ganaris sub Nerone temporum. Yeah. So that's past passive. So he knew of the times under Nero, quibus, in which inertia, just being lethargic and not being too bold, fuit was that was the norm pro sapiente instead of being outspoken and wise. Idem praeture tenor in silentium. So likewise, his holding of the praetorship, there was also silence. We might make this the daily dictionary word tenor. I'll just look it up for you. Tenor, sustained continuous course of movement. Okay, so we'll go back to the words. Nec enim jurisdictio obvenerat. That's nice and short. For neither did obvenerat, neither came to him any jurisdictions. This is official duties. Should I go on? Ludos et inania honoris medio. So the games and the emptiness of honours, medio rationis and atqui abundia. It's a genitive. So he led a middle path of thinking, so it's rationing. So it would have been between being simple and being in abundance. Utai, it's probably just so that. Longe, he was far from luxuries, thus proprio, closer to fame. Having a good report, a good rumour, people spoke well about him. Tum electus a Galba. Then he was chosen from Galba, by Galba. Yeah, so he was chosen by Galba ad dona templorum, that's the genitive. We have a gerund here. To the recognoscenda, to getting to know about the gifts of the temple. Diligentissima, this is where you get inquisition from in medieval stuff. So a most careful inquisition effect he brought about into getting to know what happened to the gifts of the temple. Ne cuis ulterius. Neither was there of anyone else. Sacrilegium res publica sensisset. Okay, so he discovered that there was no one who did more sacrilege to the Republic than Nero. And that was the outcome of his inquisition.